Welcome back to another edition of the Bebo Knows podcast. Welcome home to my sanitarium. This is your host, Brian Bullock, and with me I have everyone's favorite Bulldog, the _Bulldog _. How you doing today?
I'm very well, sir. And yourself?
I can't complain. I should also give a shout out to Rosh Hashanah for giving me the next 2 days off of work, so thank you.
Well, shalom.
Thank you, shalom, and whatever other Jewish words we want to throw in there.
Yeah, whatever Tukkas is going on.
Yeah, spin my dreidel or whatever. And that's not a euphemism for anything, you sick perverts. And before we get started, I should also mention that you've inspired me today. I actually am drinking water instead of.
Oh, I'm glad that wasn't an on-air suicide or anything like that. I'm glad it was positive.
My normal PB. Yeah, no, it's not like. No. This is.
It wasn't. I've had enough of you.
No, it wasn't like. It wasn't an idea like snort a line of something.
Oh, well, that's okay.
I mean,
everything in moderation.
Oh yeah. But everything in moderation, everything that is worth doing is worth overdoing. So
agreed.
So, anyways, welcome to the podcast, Bulldog. Thanks for joining. As I do with any new guest, I like to get a little bit of your background on terms of your gambling roots, how you might have got started betting. I know you don't come off on Twitter as a betting folk, but you do a little bit of it. So, if you care to introduce yourself, you could introduce the gambling and non-gambling side of who you are. So take it away.
I would say, as far as the gambling goes, probably, you're talking in the 10-year range maybe. After, I guess growing up in bumfuck Egypt like I did, you didn't really, your extent of knowledge of gambling was the Pete Rose story. So, once life evolves a little bit. It was online gambling, and I've done both back and forth. It was more baseball than anything. And then, of course, once the proper chemicals get released in your brain, here we are. So, it mainly was baseball, and then, you're like, oh, this is fun. Then you lose, and then you go, well, this isn't nearly as fun. Then you win again, and so... Just like any vicious cycle, it's there's no end.
Yeah.
But no, it's I would say I gamble more than I talk about. But some people have an incessant need to. I mean, you and some other guys have some infrastructure more than I would, so it behooves you more to do that. But plus, I don't have to bitch about losses if I don't. You know what I mean? It's just it's certainly at a recreational level.
That's cool. Yeah. No. I figure this won't be your standard podcast where it's just nonstop gambling talk like I do with other.
And like I said, that stuff interests me more than I speak publicly about. Okay. But it for me, what it's done for me is promotes me to watch more events than I would. I mean, I would always watch team favorites, if you will, but. When you have... Like
your Cardinals and the Bears and stuff like that?
Correct.
Okay.
Although, at any point, I'm more than willing to change the channel on any of them, but...
Sure. So
as any insane fan would.
Sure. Do you have any memorable bets that you've made that, did you bet the Cardinals on any of those World Series that they won?
I had a throwaway Cardinals future from last year, and it was on a random site, and it was like the last $15-20 I had. So I said, messing around. I said, let's do this. It was a pretty good number, and season rolls along, and game 6 rolls along, and you lose. But that was one of those that would have been a pretty solid return. I can't really remember any. There's nothing that stands out. So I'm pretty good at blocking out trauma, apparently.
Are there large parts of your life that you don't remember as it is?
No. Anything that oddly enough, I've had that question before. Oddly enough, my mother has asked me that question. But anything that the federal government doesn't seem fit for you that I may have taken just seems to enhance that. So yeah, it's only therapy will eradicate that from the brain.
That's fair enough.
Just like you, if you win, okay, you win a bet, you just go, okay, you're already rolling to the next day with baseball, or you're already looking at next week. Mm-hmm. I can see the winning isn't enough. So I can see how people throw their whole fucking lives away because you win. Okay, I just won $1,000. Okay, good. I was supposed to win that. That was my whole point.
Yeah.
But it just next thing you know.
Do you see with what you've seen, maybe outside of Twitter, on Twitter, do you see this addiction being any worse than the ones that you may have battled in your life? Because I know you're pretty open about discussing it. So
yeah, I have no problem with that. I guess I have not seen. I guess I haven't been in that type of environment where I'm trying to describe it appropriately. No, I haven't. I'm not saying that it's not, a thing, but I assume it's just like anything else. The guy's on Friday, he gets $20. Okay, Jim's gonna go get some coke. This guy's gonna get meth, and I'm putting $20 on the Brewers. There's really, it all stimulates to the same chemical out of the brain. Some things may be a little less physically harmful, but it's everybody has their vice. Yeah,
sure. And that might be the ultimate apples oranges there, but
mm-hmm.
I figured.
Yeah, the parallel certainly runs. You would be ignorant not to entertain that thought, but I guess I haven't seen. I've never really lived in a casino-based or Vegas-type area where you go in and you go, I don't belong here. You know what I mean?
Sure. And you've never been to Vegas, right?
No.
Okay.
That's probably a good thing. No, yeah. we're live here, so no, I have not been.
That's true. Yeah, I don't think
I don't need all my vices in a 4-foot area. That's kind of my rationale.
That's a good rule of thumb.
It's
Yeah.
I guess if I diagnose a terminal something, I announce that I'm going to Vegas. We know what's up.
Yeah, you don't really need to tell us you got cancer if we hear you're flying to Reno next week.
Yeah, we'll code it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the same thing as any type of addiction. You're always chasing that first win, and then you lose. You go, well, I'll just win these next two, and I'll be ahead.
Yeah.
Next thing, I think either way, you can probably end up in jail or a cardboard box. But
yeah, I wonder whenever I walk into the city and I'll see a homeless person, I wonder how many bad decisions did it take to get to that point. Like, how many vices did you have to get to that point?
And see that. I see that more, and you probably live in the Chicago area. I see it. You see a lot of it, like Olympic Park in Atlanta. It just there's a lot of mental thoughts that go through, and half are bad and half are empathy. You would hope.
Yeah, no, definitely, for sure. Because
as a society as a whole, we're this elitist, and we'll have 18 cars, and this fucking guy's sleeping on a bench, huh? You have no clue. Could be it's just, you never know the turmoil inside of somebody. It's not a good situation regardless of why.
Sure.
But
it's
funny because society goes, okay, this guy's a veteran or blah, blah, blah. Okay, we'll help him out. But okay, he's a drug addict or alcoholic, and he's a leper,
Yeah, even though our government was supplying those people overseas with that shit.
Agent Orange. Yeah.
So
it's an interesting mental interpretation. Just maybe lack of familiarity. Maybe I just have, just from my own experience, just empathy, or maybe perhaps a better word is understanding.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't think your normal 16-year-old goes steals his dad's old Miller Lite and has the intention, I'm going to be a big fucking alcoholic in 15 years with no job. Just slamming away. That's now. Do you would choose to obtain your substances, but
yeah.
Jesus, you go, God, I can't wait to live in a ditch. That's not
Yeah, it's not a life goal. Yeah.
It's. It might be. But
I mean,
who am I to judge?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, to each their own.
Yeah.
So speaking of things that should be homeless, the baseball in Chicago. We don't really have baseball in Chicago. We haven't had baseball in Chicago for a while, so I'm a little jealous whenever this time of the year comes around. And I've been with my fiance for 3 years now, and she's a Cardinals fan just like you.
God bless her.
So I have to ask, what makes you guys the best fans in baseball? And I know people love to make fun of that, phrase, but where did that even come from?
I guess I'm not familiar with the making fun of it, but we'll discuss that later. I don't really know. I mean, I guess you guys call it trolling. That's new to me. I don't know that either. But it's just kind of, I'm not really sure where it originated from. Anybody that's, been downtown knows that it's a baseball city. I mean, even when the Rams were winning the Super Bowl, it's still a baseball city. Yeah,
I don't. They had trouble filling that stadium, that Monday night game last year. I think when the World Series was going on.
Well, I mean, we're approximately the same age, right? So
yeah.
I mean, I remember when the Rams came back to town because it was my freshman year. We went down, and I remember Lawrence Phillips being there. So the byproduct of my fandom is availability. I suppose. I mean, you base it off your folks too, but
sure.
It's been a good 10-year run. But I mean, I also remember the '90s when the Cardinals were terrible.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people like Boston fans and stuff like that aren't familiar with there was baseball during then, but I can assure you there was. But no, the last 10 years, ownership group has been done well, and when you just for example, last year's team, I think there was 16 guys on the team making $500,000.
Yeah,
that's just a byproduct of your farm. That's not dumb luck.
Yeah, and making decisions like not re-signing Pujols and
handicapping the franchise.
Yeah.
That would have definitely hampered. I think they have the ability to spend more money than they do, but I don't know. If you can buy a car for $20,000, why are you buying it for $25,000?
Yeah.
So I mean that couldn't have worked out any better because they got the compensatory pick with Walker, and I know he's had a little bit of a physical struggle this year, but sure. He's also 20. He's also 22 years old. He'll be all right.
He's got a bright future, and you can always kind of peg 1 or 2 years where he's going to be out. Some arm injury or something. You could always peg those young studs for those.
That's just because those guys pitch now, as far as a kinesiology biomechanics standpoint, I always call it, those guys now are 6'5", 6'6". What they do is I always call it get tall and fall, and they don't use that leg drive like guys like Ryan and Clemens did.
And I mean, I don't know the human.
I don't know that there's any correlation, but we see so much now as far as arm. The shoulder injuries are minor compared to what it used to be. It's all UCL and all that now.
Yeah, and human arms aren't really supposed to be doing that to begin with.
Not from an ergonomic standpoint, no.
No, so it's amazing.
If you want UCL tears to not stop, but become minute, you stop throwing a ball overhand. That's your answer. That's your only answer.
That's pretty basic.
That's basic,
science.
That's basic human ergonomics. Yeah, that's
Yep.
Just real simple. I don't know what the answer to all that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what there is when there's so much randomness involved.
Yep. So with I know this year's Cardinals team, you've on Twitter you were talking down about them quite a bit, and
they've aged me.
I would say based on the fact that here we are once again, here they are in this spot again. I mean,
well, I haven't looked at the standings in a while. What, the first place, huh? That's good.
Yeah,
that's good, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's
yes.
Weird.
Yeah, don't you? I remember at some point you had said. I think I caught some conversation that said you had been watching pretty much every single game.
I once football goes around, I roll more into football zone, but I'm certainly very aware of what's going on. But the first, we'll just say for conversation, 60, 80 games. I mean, it felt like 4 seasons because you'd win 2 and then you'd lose 5.
Yeah, you're.
But when you score 2 runs a fucking week, it does tend to take a little while. The excitement's marginal.
Yeah, I mean, I
like good pitching, just usually when the guy has a red hat on.
Yeah, you like
that's
that,
my personal preference.
You like that R column to be a little lower on the on the other side.
It does seem like July was, a year ago, because they'd be 1 game over 500. You go, okay, they're gonna make a little run, and then by the time Sunday rolled around, there were 3 games under 500.
Yeah, but
they're still not a very good team,
And yet here they are.
The
Brewers. I think I read something that the Brewers were like a month ago, maybe 5 weeks ago, they were like 97% chance or something like that of making the playoffs, and now it's they're obviously out of it. So
I enjoy my science and math just as much as anybody else. I always laugh because the largest variable in the world is trying to be accounted for, and that's human beings.
Yeah. That's what we're betting. That's what we're betting on.
And millions of dollars.
Yep.
But I was kind of surprised by the Brewers' run, as I think everybody was. But yeah, I would never, at any point in the season, said, "Oh, we're going to be 20 games over 500." Especially, losing Waka, losing Molina. Their 2 combined home run hitters would be 1 good home run hitter and 1, would be a 40 home runs. You go, oh, that's all right.
I miss steroids. I think they need to bring back steroids.
I don't disagree. Obviously, I've made that very.
I heard the Shea podcast. I had to do a little prep work here, and
Well, good. You checked my Wikipedia page. Wonderful. Wish you bastards would quit editing that. As our government goes, they're more about perception and fear-mongering than factual data. But again, it rolls into any type of substance that they feel they cannot control or maximize profits off of, so therefore it's banned.
Yeah.
If a guy gets caught with steroids, it's the same as getting caught with heroin, coke, all that stuff. But you're going to tell me that's the same thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've said it 100 times on Twitter, and I've said it, especially I liked Pride, with their fighting organization. I've seen the actual pamphlet they gave their rules and organizational rules to the fighters. The last line, it says, we will not be testing for anabolic steroids. It specifically said that in their guidelines. No shit. What they did test for was just opiums and painkillers and stuff like that. But the following verbiage was they specifically told you they are not testing.
It's like, we will not investigate you for murder if you
basically
if you stab.
But it's just a different. And I'm not saying everything about their culture is infinite, but they understand that it's entertainment.
Yeah,
so, and you can. The visual isn't the best. I think people are under that interpretation that, well, here's visual evidence. Your eyes are your worst sense, but that's regardless. So a guy's certainly it is a way. There's markers to look for if you know what you're looking for. But you look at some of them guys in the early 2000s, you just go, huh? His shoulders touch his ears.
Yeah, his head grew.
He has a garbage can neck.
Yeah, he's wearing a size 8 hat.
And that's the thing distinguishable about say perhaps a fighting incidents or baseballs. I can just buy a bigger jersey. Nobody's gonna.
Sure.
That's the thing about baseball. Unless you do the Big Mac painted on version like in the early mid '90s there.
Yeah, those were the days.
But the thing that always, I guess, lack of familiarity doesn't stop people from discussing things, which is fine. But
sure, yeah, it's
But it bothers me at times. It bothers me to the point of it's slanderous and just it's beyond personal ignorance. But there's always this. It's just it was just Sosa and McGuire, and you don't think recovery abilities through synthetic testosterone and growth hormone is going to help a pitcher?
Oh yeah,
there's this verbal misconception that oh, these guys were all hitting home runs, as if even the Mitchell report named plenty of pitchers. So for every guy that was on there, there's 10 that weren't.
Yeah, and I don't remember what the name of the book was. It was written by Howard Bryant, and actually, I never even thought of it until I read the book where like the guy said, well, why aren't pitchers complaining about these numbers getting bigger? It's because
there wasn't much verbiage from them, was there?
They're doing the same fucking thing.
Yep.
You know,
the only number, the only numbers they're really concerned about was that check they got every 2 weeks they went into direct deposit.
Yep. Man, I wish. And my direct deposit's a little smaller than that. Are you implying the commas in a different place? Yeah. Or there's only or there's not enough commas. Yeah. There's only one comma usually. So, actually, there's never been 2 commas. No. Last I checked, no, there hasn't been 2 commas. I'm still waiting.
A lot of people can understand that. That's the thing is just like you said that if you think you're being wronged in life, speak up. Yeah, I didn't hear any pitchers speak up. The thing that does piss me off is baseball writers, and they're the dude that got left out, in junior high, and it comes through in a lot of their writing is pretentious and jealous, and you're in the locker room every day, and you see these monstrous, guys of a certain age just don't gain skeletal muscle like it's it's a new T-shirt.
But the term that Chiwi uses, they were Richard riding. A lot of those guys.
Sure.
So,
Sure, I agree with that.
And they didn't want to lose access, and you
don't want to burn a story. The only guy that really did all that was Perlman. He's a fantastic writer. He's kind of a little shithead, and I can see why guys like Rocker went to fucking break his neck. But he's a great writer. He went after Will Clark. He went after Rocker. But you have to have journalistic integrity. Now, you're probably going to lose, but you have to put what's out there for public consumption, what's appropriate.
Yeah.
We know everything about everybody now anyways.
Yeah, it's all within a Google search.
Everybody has 4 types of recording devices on them. So there's no privacy level. They understand that. But it just, the ambiguousness, I don't know if lack of familiarity is certainly low acumen on the writer's part, even to this day. It bugs the shit out of me. But
yeah, they're supposed to be the experts on the things they're covering, but they seem a lot of times just as intelligent as we are on these subjects. If maybe less, a little bit less, but maybe this is the way they portray themselves.
Sure, if you're paid to do something, I expect you to be of professional merit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the word expert's probably an overused word, but have a better scope of familiarity than your reader.
Yeah, and that's how you're supposed to be the expert on it, and not just be like a PR piece for.
Sure, and you can pick out guys too that write stuff or say stuff for just the audience level, and there has to be a good portion of that person that just says shit. Sure,
and since we're talking about this part, because I know on Twitter a lot you speak about your distaste for a lot of media. Is there particular media that you like to go to, that you rely on for sports information?
As far as just a brand or a site?
Just in general, in general, whatever it might be, whatever sport it might be, or just in general.
No, because I'm such a nitpicker. I have my mother's CPA disease in me. No, I try not to. I don't seek out negativity, but if you're going to be factually wrong, you get called on the carpet.
Sure.
Opinion's one thing, but if you're going to infer or you're going to, be blatantly wrong or slanderous, then I'm big MMA, but most of MMA media is, like I said, I'm not going to be derogatory. It's not good. It's poor. These guys aren't journalists. You can tell when somebody is a journalist and when they aren't. And that's to no fault of their own. If somebody wants to pay you something for what you like, why, that's not your fault.
Yeah.
So, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not the baseball player's fault. They're over. As far as the semantics go, they're overpaid. I've never seen one guy turn a check down.
No.
But I like a couple guys at Bloody Elbow. You know what? To be real honest, I spend way too much fucking time on Twitter, but it's more of an access and availability because you can filter your news so much. So I don't like. I mean, I see people complain about Peter King all the time. To be honest, and I was thinking about that today because I saw the Deadspin article. And the thing is, I fucking hate Deadspin, but I go there all the time. So I guess it just makes me an idiotic hypocrite because I'm giving them money. So
you're just a glutton for punishment, I guess.
I'm an ass. I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
I'm the idiot I bitch about. But I thought about that today because I was sitting outside and I was reading that article. And I thought, you know what? I've never read a whole Peter King article, mainly because they're longer than fucking Tolstoy. But I just thought about that. I thought, man, I think that's a product of the information we received today. We have to have, God forbid, I don't know the final score 5 minutes after it happened, or everything is, and this is not demeaning this current event, but everything's a podcast, everything's simulcast, nothing's in writing because we're 140 characters and under.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that is part of our attention span too.
With the microwave society, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, let's just touch base a little bit more on the Cardinals. One little bit. I meant to ask you what you think they're going to do in October. Do you see them doing anything?
But like we talked about, I spoke earlier. This team isn't very good. They can't hit. Their closer is tripolar. Just has control issues. I don't know if it's just the burden of the situation or everything fell into place last year, as it often does.
Yeah.
This season, and I'm not trying to be super optimistic. This season has that 06-11 feel. You go through the whole season going, well, they're all right. The next thing you know, it's a World Series.
Yeah, in 06 they were.
It has that feel.
06 they were like 83 and 79, something like that, right?
They were.
It was something. They were barely over 500.
They were single digits over 500.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
So
I mean, they were by far like record-wise the worst team.
Yeah, oddly enough, Game 1, I was moving from Illinois, and me and my wife were in the car. We listened to Game 1 driving down here on the radio. So that's kind of our first little. She's a Cardinals fan now because she's intelligent, but that's kind of our first little experience. So yeah, that was the old. It was the Reyes kid, I think, pitching the Game 1, which you'd probably win a couple dollars at the St. Louis Cardinals bar if you could. Who was the Game 1 starter at the 2006 World Series? Never to be heard from again after Anthony Reyes. That's who it was.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
I think he went against Kenny Rogers' roaster that day.
That sounds familiar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
that's what upset me last year is I really hoped that the Tigers would win because the ALCS because I had absolute confidence they would beat the Tigers. So
no, was Wainwright? Did Wainwright? Oh, was he part of that 06 team?
Wainwright was the closer.
Yeah,
Wainwright was the closer in 06.
Okay.
That's the weird thing about the Cardinals have had some stellar number ones through the last decade or so. 06, Carpenter was hurt. 11, Wainwright was hurt. So the whole time they had both those guys, they never were on the same World Series team. Yeah. So which is, I guess, just randomness of injuries. But
just speaks to how consistent they are with everything, even injuries.
Well, when you have David Eckstein to win the 06 World Series MVP, the rest is kind of
that tells you everything you need to know.
It's the sheep and the shepherd, my friend.
Yeah.
But that's always my little go-to body shot is that David Eckstein has more World Series MVPs than Albert Pujols does. Yeah. Currently standing at 1-0.
That would win you some bets as well.
Good Lord,
yeah. I had to tell you, I enjoyed that 05 World Series from the White Sox as much as I could. and it had that one and done feel to it when it happened, and sure as shit, that's what.
As far as an organization,
I mean,
you immediately adopted the Wayne Huizenga Marlins.
I mean, yeah, I was.
I started seeing some. I was still in Illinois. You saw a couple new White Sox hats then. You never saw them before.
It was the tickets were a little tougher in 06, definitely.
Yeah. Oh
yeah. And now it's just Bears shit again. I'm actually going to the game in a few days, and my fiance had to remind me that we bought tickets for this game, so it just kind of
10 minutes before you leave.
Are
you going to get ready to go? Where are we going?
Yeah, what the fuck?
That's what my folks used to say was. Let's see, I was born in 81, so they said they took me to a lot of games when I was a kid. The Bears, when most of Walter's career, people don't understand, is the Bears are fucking terrible.
Yeah.
They had 3 guys that probably should be selling insurance and 2 guys that were probably Division I players as the line. So, 82, 83, 84 started getting around. They said, Craig, we got flyers in the mail every 2 weeks to come to games, and Christ, you couldn't even stand in the parking lot if, they finally got good.
Yeah. So,
just the way. But you would probably agree that regardless of what happens, Chicago's a Bears town.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if a Bear, the 85 Bears are still
Oh, shit. It was like it was yesterday. Yeah.
Yep.
It's a Bears town. Even when the Bulls were awesome, it's a Bears town.
Yeah. Anytime I hear a White Sox fan talk about 05 World Series, and then I'll hear a Cubs fan say, "Oh, quit living in the past," and that same exact person will talk about the Super Bowl shuffle. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
Then 10 minutes later, they're talking about the Monday Night Football game in Miami. They lost that year.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, however,
but it's revisionist history, but that's been a long 30 years.
Yeah, it is. Like you said, it feels like it happened yesterday with how much it's talked about.
If you talk to a fellow Bears fan, it was like it was last season. I guess just because of the exploited familiarity and the personalities on that team,
Sure. They had a lot of personalities on that team.
It's an interesting mesh point. The squad that definitely should have probably won more than they did, but there's a lot of teams throughout history that could.
Yep.
You could say the same for. The biggest dynamic there was just Buddy and Dicka not getting along.
Yep.
Hence the fight at halftime of the Miami Dolphins game that year.
Yeah, that's the Buddy Ryan part of the equation doesn't get talked about as much as Ditka. Obviously, Ditka was the headpiece, but
sure, Ditka was the he was a Chicago player. I mean, he was drafted by Hallis.
Yep.
So, but even Ditka had his moments with Hallis. That comment about him that House Papa Bear threw nickels around like they were manhole covers didn't go over very well that one year. I remember. But there's always that divisiveness between offense and defense. I guess people that haven't advanced to maybe at least you don't really see that until you get to a collegiate and a professional level.
Sure, and that's a great transition because you actually played some college football at Western Illinois, correct?
Right. And I thought we were going to go to a sponsors break there for a minute.
Well, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't have any sponsors yet. That's something.
No, that's the biggest thing. We'll just go right into that. I played it such. I think. God, without looking at a team picture, which I tried to burn all those. As far as government evidence, I think my senior year of high school there was 22 varsity players, maybe. 15 played. And we were state champs, so it wasn't like we're 1-18.
Right.
But that was the biggest. There's a whole new world out there for me. Moment when these motherfuckers don't like each other. The guys were all have the same colors. It was interesting as far as wow, this is not a whole team.
So when were you were there in the late 90s?
Yeah.
Western Illinois. So
yeah.
How did your team do while you were there? How did Western
Illinois never up to what you. That was a different thing for me too. Losing sucks so bad. So I could see how these guys compartmentalize. Like I said, in my 4 years of high school, I think we won like 40-some games, That's in a 9-game season. So obviously you've had a few playoff runs. You go through a year where you win 2 or 3 games, you start reevaluating everything. So, you just get a mesh point of kids from different cultures, and that was never really a big deal, even for a country bumpkin like me. The biggest dynamic was always just offense, defense, but 6 o'clock rolls around, it's time to go to the mess hall. It's like the previous 3 hours really didn't happen. I think that's a guy thing, an alpha male thing. There was times where I remember getting to knock down dragouts with the fucking tight end because he couldn't stop holding. And it comes 6:30, we're playing NCAA football up in somebody's room, I think that's a male thing.
Yeah.
You got like the gorilla, you got to beat your chest to show how badass you are.
Sure.
As always, there's always diplomatic resolution, but that was just an eye opener. I just couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine the consequences in high school. We were on a pretty straight lace. It wasn't wild by any means, but I could not imagine fighting a teammate in practice in high school. Put it that way.
Yeah, it's a little different dynamic.
Sure, but at the same time, I can remember every one of those guys since we're 5 years old. So that's a different.
Yeah, you're talking about
different correlation, but
people from different areas of the country or state.
Yeah, it was. You get some St. Louis boys and stuff of that nature. But you still get a lot of small town Illinois from everywhere, and that's what I was going to get to too. In 1AA is the concept of, okay, this guy just got kicked out of Nebraska. I can play next week by transferring to Western, Southern. At one time Northern, they're Division I now, but that's a whole new. I mean, that's well beyond my level of physical capability.
Yeah.
That guy obviously was somebody coming out of high school. I had a couple friends that went to Illinois State. Excuse me, played D tackle, and he was a big boy, good player. It came to about his junior and senior year. I remember. I don't remember exactly which year in school, but I remember one year it was some kid transferred in from Louisville that got kicked out of school. He came in and played. And the next year, he was tabbed as a starter. He got kicked out of Miami, Florida. He comes right in and plays. So you go from playing every day. You go from playing both sides of the football and being real fucking good to sitting out a couple years or not playing ever and being a very good player.
Yeah, that has to be a mind fuck for
just
for a college.
Freshman year really stunk. You hate football. Because it's bad, and I've said this before. It's bad when it's 2:30, 3 o'clock, and you're okay. You're an 18-year-old, 19. I was 17 when so you get a various age group. When you're that age and you start thinking about going to an optional study hall instead of fucking football. The season is grinded on you.
Yeah. So, that's not a good sign.
Just to try to put it into perspective, where you can't get guys to go to class, you go, 3 o'clock. There's tutors here today. Let's or you're getting extra, and I put this in the faux quotations. You're getting treatment. But it you got a guy ahead of you that's an All-American or clearly better than you, or clearly 4 years older than you. That makes a hell of a difference. You go, this sucks. So it's different. It's you got to really want to do it. And I for guys that walk on or play it even a lower, you see guys. I mean, there's a ton of schools that never get TV time. That aren't on scholarship. It's just so you're doing it for free.
Yep. So
and you have to love it. So.
Oh yeah, you have to. Do you think college players should get paid?
You mean over the table?
Of course. There's
on the up and up
side shit. Yeah, where it's actually you could claim it as taxable income.
I guess I'm obviously fairly opinionated on most things. I just don't.
No,
I don't.
no, you're not.
I don't know. This is Pandora's box. At the sake of being a shitty politician, I can see both sides because there's a lot of money being made out there. I mean, you'd be, hard pressed to make an argument otherwise. I don't know because you run into that one in what I call it the 1 in 100 syndrome. Is Jameis Winston? Is he getting paid the same as the guy that's the backup place kicker for Florida? I mean, there has to be. Yeah,
there has.
You run into a whole gamut of, and guess what? A lot of schools, especially down in my neck of the woods now, where you're in the SEC country, where guess what? Every other sport, they're already supporting every sport as it is. Those sports exist because of Alabama football, because of Auburn football, Florida football, because of that revenue.
Yeah.
Boys can play fucking world championship badminton or whatever they do. I don't know. That's what supports that. So I think the schools are obviously all right with that because I think it's a bit of a stretch to call them employees because you willingly go to these. You're getting my argument always is and always has been you're getting education. Whether you option yourself to optimize it and use it, that's on you. Even the shittiest state school is going to cost you $25,000 a year.
Yep.
You get a lot of fringe benefits along the way that a normal student doesn't. And I'm not saying anything, anything of a cash variety, but just stuff from the aspect of gear to, and I don't mean steroids when I say gear. We had to get those on our own.
So is the illegal stuff that happens in NCAA just as common in Division II? Like the
No, not as.
No.
It's not as competitive. I don't like I said, I played we had our first game when I was 17. To say I was a little green behind the ears was probably complimentary to the situation. I was always big into research on supplementation and exercise, which is where I'm at today. But my acumen to as far as even the knowledge of that was existed was probably a byproduct of my upbringing. It was, that's something that situational awareness was low. I mean, there was a couple of guys that you go, huh? I guess even then, maybe because society jades you or perhaps educates you. I remember there was a couple brothers. There was a kid who was a year older than me, and there was a brother. He was like 24. He came back to school. His hair was like he was 44, and this motherfucker was enormous. At the time, you just thought, I thought, well, if I live for 6 years, I can do that. No. You just, I guess you're still young enough at the time, and even from 1998 to now is a vast difference in sports.
Sure.
You're not even talking about the same items. So, did it happen? Yeah. Did I see it? No. I guess there was that country redneckness to me. You just go, well, I'll just go lift some more weights and I'll beat the fuck out of that guy. That's just how it was. You just didn't think any other way. You didn't think, oh, that guy's on steroids. You just thought, oh, that guy's a badass. There's a couple of guys that you played with that you go, in hindsight, you go, yeah, that's not a GNC.
Yeah, yeah.
But it
didn't come from squats.
No.
or curls or anything like that.
I guess just through situational experiences and fortunate meetings of people and through the professional level, and I know a lot of professional people and professional athletes, stuff like that, and it's interesting. I've never had a problem having people confide stuff in me for whatever reason. I don't know, I guess guilty conscience on their part, but I just always have found that interesting. I've never really pried for information, but I've always seemed to receive it. And I noticed it more once I started taking jiu-jitsu, and even my awareness of people using, it certainly wasn't firsthand. you'd see guys. I guess in a fight, you're basically in a pair of boxer briefs, for lack of better accurate phrasing. I mean, they're so you're out there for God and everybody else to see, and you go, huh, that guy works out a lot. And then you start getting into situations that it takes a lot for me to be uncomfortable. That'd probably be the back of a police car, but by then it's too late. I guess the hellos are over. It's to the point where you're in certain places where it's openly discussed. You go,
sure.
Like it's not so. I guess like anything else in society, you either evolve, adapt, or get left behind. So you.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think any of us in the spots that certain people have been, and athletes that we've condemned for using would do the same thing if we were in their spots.
Well, yeah. The funny part is the people that are condemned are wobbling over to the refrigerator for their 11th Busch Light, harming their life, while in an infinite choice, these people are vastly attempting to improve their life. There's such a opposite parallel. It's everybody gets the moral high horse despite having marginal acumen.
Sure.
But I don't look at it as cheating. I mean, obviously the rules dictate otherwise. Like I said, our federal laws, in my opinion, are beyond archaic. I understand from, I don't know, I don't think fairness is even an appropriate word, but I understand leagues can do whatever they want. If I don't like it, I don't watch.
Yeah, it's a private company that
they do whatever they want. Well, like we get into the NFL, I don't care if we get to that or not, but I mean, I've seen a lot of things in the last 10 years, and I don't see a lot of guys that are 6'3", 290, that are 6% body fat, just walking around at fucking Kroger every day,
Yeah, that's.
I must be in the wrong aisle.
Yeah, you.
But it's. But the thing of it is there's so many, and that's a governmental thing. But I guess my interest is what has piqued my knowledge into fat.
Sure.
Everybody should have at least an acute knowledge of how your body works, because it's a disservice to yourself. I think that's why we're running into some of the problems we are as far as cost of medical care. Or you can eat whatever you want. People, you can live your life how you want. A guy wants to sit in his basement and drink 40 beers a day and piss his couch.
Yeah.
I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
That's your choice.
Yeah, you're just.
It really doesn't bother me at all.
And it shouldn't. I mean, just as long as
if you don't mess with me and my family and my friends, we're good.
Yeah. I don't see any problem with people living how they want to, but
don't be driving around bouncing off mailboxes. Don't be putting don't put my nephew in a situation where you kill him in a car wreck.
Yeah, exactly.
Just if you want to, if it is a victimless crime, meaning it doesn't bother me.
Sure.
I mean, this shit's going to happen regardless. We spend more money every year on the war on drugs than ever. You see where I mean, Jesus. It's working out pretty well.
Just let people be free with everything.
we all have a deviant portion of us, like I said, I look at street pharmacy, so to speak, at a vastly different level than I do your enhancing pharmaceuticals.
Sure.
But I could go, a male could manipulate his testosterone level through whatever, without the scientific process. He could manipulate his testosterone level, go to the doctor and go, let's run some blood tests and maybe send me to an endocrinologist. He's going to prescribe you synthetic testosterone. But you getting it from him and you getting it from the street, one's a felony, one's called medicine.
Yeah.
But okay, I could go to the street dealer and get an 8-ball of Coke. I can't do that at my local general practitioner. Well, maybe I could if I go to the right one.
Yeah, you're going to the wrong ones, I guess.
Well, that's what I get. Goddamn uppity people here. That just takes me into a whole nother scope of systematic problems. especially with what the NFL's running into, stuff of that nature. But it's just interesting how we try to legislate morality with things, especially, like social media too does that. It's your right in this country to have opinion. It's also my right to tell you you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you're willing to put your opinion out there for people to share, I think that you put yourself out there for people to critique you. So, and
if you believe what you're saying, you have no problem with that.
Sure.
And you're not deleting tweets or you're not apologizing for shit. I saw something today. Why, if you believe that, why are you apologizing for it? It's
Yeah, and
it's not like you said he's an aid riddle. I mean, as long as it's not defamatory, it's
you're not slanderous. You're not making up rumors about somebody.
Yeah. Then you obviously if you don't have enough conviction in what you're saying, you probably need to step aside and reevaluate some things, anyways.
Sure. So we'll skip a little bit about the other college football stuff I was going to talk to, and get into what we're kind of talking about now with social issues in sports. And
sure.
What do you think sports' place as it relates to social issues should be? Do you care for the way things are being discussed now in the media and social media?
It's the problem I have is, and I guess I just have I've had the fortunate advantage of being able to work in, I don't want to say professional sports because that's making it more than it is, but being able to work with people who are gifted individuals, and I guess for lack of a better term, being a Band-Aid, if you will, a groupie. It's the thing that I don't go to the mechanic and tell him, well, God, this, you're doing this fucking shit wrong. I don't know anything about cars. I know how to drive one. I've wrecked a couple. I think that's the issue I see is there's no cause or correlation. We love sports so much, and that's, it's our team.
We.
I noticed a lot, and especially in fighting and stuff. A guy watches two fights, and he's part of the Gracie family. All of a sudden, it's it's the natural psychological desire for inclusiveness, especially for people. And this is not derogatory or anything. But it's for people who have not done any of that.
Yeah.
It's. I sit at home, watch TV, and go, huh. I guess, I'm not unused to standing beside a guy that's like 300 pounds going, this guy'd fucking kill me in 2 seconds. If I said the wrong thing, you have a healthy respect for life, I guess. I see a lot of negativity. This sucks, that sucks. No, they're really actually special individuals. As far as the media goes with the way they're handling stuff is we watch everything, so naturally we are professionals in that, sports that we don't get paid for.
Yep.
Especially, we start running into with the PED issues and stuff like that. It's just interesting dynamic, especially with the NFL of late. I think it encompasses a societal problem. I just find it funny that somehow this is an NFL problem. And I've put out the stat 1 million times of the CDC. Like I said, that same day that Ray Rice knocked his then fiance out, there was roughly 3,500 other women that a similar situation happened.
Sure.
But guess what? You don't jack off to them every 3 hours on Sunday. You worship these people as if they're, the living gods of the Greek.
As if you really know them. Right.
That does humor me as well. You watch somebody perform a fucking kids game every weekend, and that's the desire for inclusiveness,
And then you talk about how great of a person this is. Do you?
Yeah.
You see them. Idea. You see them 3 hours a week for 16 weeks.
You see
on TV.
Sure. Again, it's just I don't want to say psychological shortcomings, but it's our desire to be involved. Yeah, you don't ever talk to this person. You're never in the same zip code as this person. Yet somehow, you put them you put somebody with extreme physical gifts on this pedestal. And that's what we do in this country more than anywhere else. And I mean, what they do is unique, or otherwise everybody would do it. And that's what bothers me about the steroids thing too. Is he took steroids. Well, okay, then we'll put you on the same regimen. We'll put you on the exact same diet and workout plan, and then we'll see how that $25 million contract works out for you. I mean, there's a little bit more to it. I mean, than that. So it's just the I guess it is the ignorance that bothers me, but I don't think that I'm not going to the NFL for my social levels of how to act, I guess.
No, and I don't know about you, but I feel uncomfortable when these athletes who played a game their whole lives are telling me how to think on social issues. Like, why am I listening to this?
Right.
Like,
that goes back to, I mean, you can have an opinion. You believe in what you're saying, represent who you are. You know, I don't have no problem with that.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fine. I just don't.
Right.
I turn on these events to watch the games and the highlights. Not, you know, I don't care what they think about Michael Sam. And I have my own thoughts on gay marriage, and I support it. But I mean, I don't need to hear about
to me it's
these things from.
It is vastly separate.
And
I don't care. There's never once.
They're not obviously not experts in that subject, but obviously, like we said, you don't have to be an expert in a subject to discuss it. But
divorce your opinion. I guess just believe in your opinion, stand up for your beliefs, and at least be fairly articulate. Which is funny because I'm the guy that can't spell, but that's a different story. Anyways, I don't not care about it. I guess my mom said a long time ago, there's these four walls, you worry about that and then to worry about everything else. It's just, we are such a fucking undersexed, under-socialized, just so inept society. We worry about who's having sex with who. We don't care. We don't worry about her. Half the people that we know's neighbors beating the fuck out of their old lady, but we're worried about what's going to happen to Ray Rice.
Yeah.
Well, 350 feet away, I mean, that's not even an exaggeration,
No.
But hey, it's hard to hear with the thin air up on that fucking high horse once in a while. So
yeah,
be true to yourself. Just do good by yourself. I mean, it's pretty. That's what I always think too. It's not like me and my wife had this discussion. It's not like we're discussing social issues. I mean, do I need to sit down with my wife and have a discussion? Well, do you think it's a good idea that we beat the fuck out of you today? I mean, that's really a discussion that's a discussion you're having?
Yeah,
What's the discussion on social violence? You gotta go belly up to the bar with the guys and, well, what do you think about this? I mean, is there really a discussion? There's not a discussion to be had.
Yeah, it's not like discussing, who's going to win the game today and giving your reasons for it.
Sure, that's what I don't remember the media portion that brought that out, but they said it was good because we're bringing out discussion. No, we're bringing out faux outrage, and we're perhaps cluing some people into societal issues as far as human nature. But I guess I can't say I've had any discussions about these things. I've had, don't beat the shit out of your kid in the balls that's a 4-year-old. Yeah, don't abuse your kids and don't beat your wife. Okay, yeah. I'm not really sure that there's a dissenting argument to discuss with.
Yeah, this isn't like
if there is, then we're gonna have a problem.
This isn't like a PTI thing where you invent an argument for the sake of
the devil's advocate in that argument is called a felon.
And that's the thing, though. I mean, they've brought some of these people out, like the athletes who have said, Adrian Peterson, that's not abuse, and it's like they just look like idiots when they come out.
It's funny because I guess I've lived in the South long enough that you just go, oh yeah, that's the South. It was the day before the Peterson thing came out. I just started delving into the Sweetness book by Probin. Literally the day before they talked about him growing up in Mississippi and going out and cutting switches for the old man to come home and beat their ass. I mean, it was 24 hours later the Peterson story go by. I go, just this life's irony. I thought the first thing I thought of was, that's the South. I mean, we got our asses whooped, but I mean, it wasn't, that's abuse.
Yeah.
What the hell can a 4-year-old do to possibly enrage an adult human being to that level? I don't.
Beats and I'm not saying this is
for lack of a better term. Yeah,
beats the hell out of me, and I'm not saying that.
Well, and I'm not trying to be the moral police. So I think Peterson's a scumbag, shitbag loser. Just from that whole situation last year. But like we said, we don't see the whole his mourning of the situation may have been in private. I've yet to see any indication or hear from people I know that that's the situation. I know people that play in the NFL every week. It, like I said, I don't expect the guy to get on a podium and fucking ball. I figure at some level, every NFL player is a sociopath. So some guys can't turn that off. Yeah, but the thing that bothers me the most is the placing of blame. It's not the NFL's job to. That's why. Did the NFL mess up on some stuff? Sure, they're tackling situations that are probably they're probably 20 years behind on as far as social responsibility and perhaps penalties as such. But why is Ray Rice not in jail?
Yeah, that's not
the Ravens. The Ravens and the NFL should never even had to have made a fucking decision.
That's the point that doesn't really get discussed.
That's my failing. State of New Jersey, U.S. federal law. We can go down the list of actual distributors of punishment. He's not even going to have a criminal record when this is all said and done, assuming he completes all court-ordered situational, enrollment type situations.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. If me or you did that, especially if you did that.
Well,
I wouldn't be talking to you.
We're to the point now where, I think people that think these MMA fighters are just fucking savages, and some are. I mean, but some are the nicest guys the nicest, softest guys you've ever met. A lot of these guys come from a situation where not good homes or they don't have an education. They're doing this because they have to. But you get to the point now where, okay, say a guy goes out and gets in this fight and they find out his background, he's going to get a much harsher punishment because of his background. It would be felonious and, Mr. So-and-so, I see you have they're going to pull us up. But Ray Rice doesn't spend a day in jail, never will. It should have never been tabled to the NFL and the Ravens to have to make a decision. That's where my failure is.
No, I don't think you're not going to hear an argument from me on that.
That's my biggest thing is, and like I said, due process is fine. There's no due process in the Ray Rice trial situation.
No, and to drag her to that press conference, and I mean everything was handled poorly by the NFL, but that doesn't excuse the judicial system for letting him.
Yep. To me, it falls in line with. It starts with him. This is. I just find psychology more fascinating than anything. But like I said, everybody's different. But there's we all fall into certain categories. But that was decisive, abusive, terrible. I mean, I'm not even sure I've seen bar fights like that good. And I don't mean good in a complimentary way, obviously.
Right.
But I have no factual evidence. I can just allude to the fact that, and I think people that study abusive relationships and human behavior, that's not the first time something like this happened. Yeah, I'm not saying it's gone to that extent, but yeah, that doesn't just. I mean, there is a first time for my car didn't start today. Well, it was first time for everything.
Yeah, that's.
There's an initial situation and it's going to escalate because you're a deviant. Okay, well, it's just like a kid, It's like a thief. It's a klepto. Oh,
Yeah.
I can steal $10.
Yeah,
Next thing you know, next thing you know, you're pulling the Lee Murray heist where you rob $70 million, and I mean, it just.
You don't stop at that one crime if you don't get caught. You keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. It's a mental deficiency. I mean, we'd be hard pressed to. No, we don't know. I mean, we don't know. We don't follow people 24 hours a day. Like you said, it's amusing. We fall into the assumption, oh, this guy's a good guy. I see him in a uniform for 1% of his week, but he's a good guy. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, and even these people who have access to these people, talking high and mighty about these guys, going back to the Richard Rider, the dick riding.
Richard Rider.
I love that.
Yeah, that's the. I don't. That's. I don't. I'm going to put my faith in people that I know. You're probably going to get burnt a lot less. So most of my observations and commentary are, based on physical performance. Yeah, I mean, the guy could be a great guy. He could go home and beat the fuck out of his wife every day. I don't know.
Yeah. Gotta be careful. We gotta be careful with making these people role models. Like Barkley said, I'm not a role model, even though people want to.
All right, I agree. Barkley's right. People don't have to agree with me, but Barkley's right. I like Barkley. He don't give a fuck. He almost begs you not to like him, but he's such a goofball that you like him.
Yep.
But I could get into a couple of Mickelson and Barkley stories, but that's for a different podcast. I always remember the story Barkley told about calling his mama, and I forget what presidential election it was for, but he was voting Republican. Barkley's mom told that only white and rich people vote for Republicans, and he says, "Mama, I'm rich." But it's just he's not a role model. I guess I grew up in a situation which is uncommon now. I had both a mother and a father. I don't really give a fuck for my dad, but that's a different. This isn't therapy. But they're both there, which is I think if the kids are putting these athletes or whatever on a pedestal that's not somebody that's with you all the time, there's a disconnect at home. I mean, that's a whole other societal issue. I guess I see a lot of it. You live in an urban area. You see a lot more of it than I do, than the normal person does.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'm not saying that both parents have to be of opposite gender. I don't care. I can speak from experience that doesn't necessarily always work. But we're in a situation where the last interest of the parent is the kid.
Yeah,
it's reflective in society. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah.
So this dude can run fast. He's my dad is absent. So there's your natural, and that is on us, male as a species. As a gender, it's a total failure. As far as I understand the situation. Relationships don't work out. People's dynamics collide at times. I have no idea how my wife allows me in the house, but here we are.
You're not. You mean you don't have your own actual doghouse in the backyard?
Compound. That's what we call the meth lab.
Okay.
But it's just, I guess there is no recourse for responsibility. It's just like Peterson's got 7 kids from I don't know how many moms just up the road. From when I lived in Peachtree City, Holyfield just lived up the road. He had 11 kids with God knows how many women, and a lot of that is perhaps a byproduct of their professional life. I don't know, but there's no. Anybody can write a check for child support.
Sure.
Well, the part is a lot don't though. So that's a bare minimum responsibility.
No. Yeah. I would agree.
I think the word that's where that term comes. That misnomenclature of that term of the role model. I don't. You should want to do better than your folks did in life, and that's not a slight on anybody's parents. But you want to be better off than them, and if you have children, you would hope that their lives are better than yours. Yeah,
that's ideally how I've always pictured my future kids.
So that's maybe that's simplistic in thought, but I don't know.
No, it's something we should aspire to.
I think when the role model is a fictional. These guys are fictional characters to most people.
Yeah, they're just like they're comics.
They don't exist. They exist on a 60-inch TV in the living room.
Yeah, they're the Hulk. They're not.
I think that's an accurate parallel.
They're not. They're just out of a comic book. Basically.
Sure. That's U.S. society putting false importance on sports, and this is from a guy who, his whole life revolves around sports, but the faux importance that we place upon the morality or whatever is embarrassing. Like we said, nobody gives a fuck that Jan Brady down the street has a broken face or broken ribs but God, poor Ray Rice's fiance.
Yeah, it's like when Paul George got hurt, everyone's saying pray for Paul George.
Yeah, he makes $20 million. How about this? How about we pray for the Vietnam fucking vet that our government won't fucking help, that's sleeping on the park bench,
Yeah, the guy
let's pray for the fucking guy who makes $80 million for playing 82 fucking basketball games. Yeah, that shit. I'm consider myself a Christian and try to be humble in certain aspects and try to place proper importance in certain areas. I just go, wow, dude broke his leg. He's going to be okay. It wasn't like he was shot by a goddamn terrorist. He broke his leg playing basketball. He's going to be playing basketball here in a couple months again.
And
guess what? He's making a big fucking check.
And once these guys retire, 99.9% of us don't give a shit about the guy after that anyway. So,
we don't give a shit when he gets traded to another team.
Yeah.
I fucking bum hated him anyways.
Yeah.
It just whichever way the wind blows, that's where our interest is.
Yep.
But that's the stuff. I don't get outraged about it. There's a lot more. It cracks me up.
Yeah.
I get, every day I see things and I go, you know what? I am not the dumbest motherfucker on earth, and thank God for that.
And Twitter's probably helped you out with that a little bit.
I go, well, there's at least 10 people I'm smarter than today. Good. But it's perspective and place of importance in people's lives. It's just, that stuff. I'm not saying Paul George is a bad guy or any of those guys are bad guys. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
Yeah,
it's improper perspective. Yeah. He broke his leg.
We all get excited about sports, and we'll always be like that. But you have to put it in perspective.
It's importance of values in life are pretty skewed. Like you said, he broke his leg. It's sports is our escape. You don't think about. Don't think about, 5 months later, my mortgage. Oh shit! It is your mental ambiguity. It's your escape for 3 hours every day or every week.
Sure. All right. Well, I want to get a few topics in before we wrap this up because we're hitting a pretty good mark, and I'm enjoying this. But at a certain point, we have to. This
has actually been the worst half hour of my life.
I apologize for that. I hope you'll let me into the church this Sunday, the Church of Bulldog. One of the topics I wanted to bring up as it relates to gambling Twitter.
Sure.
What pet peeves, if any, do you have with us as gambling Twitter? Is there things that we do that we need to repent for?
No, because tigers don't change their stripes.
So.
And what I mean by that is, again, disclosure of importance, perhaps acumen, lack of familiarity. It's so-and-so sucks because I lost this bet. So-and-so sucks. This team sucks. No, actually, this guy could buy your fucking life 48 times on today's salary alone. He does not suck at all. You just made an improper, inaccurate, unintelligent wager.
Yeah.
Take the fucking blame. Displeasure of blame. People suck. The demeaning of the stuff. I understand it's rhetoric, so to speak, but I find it interesting. People who got cut from YMCA soccer as a 30-year-old are demeaning professional athletes who go out of their way to watch that, take time out of their life to watch them work. So just wrap your head around that psychological dysfunction. I understand being upset's natural.
And nobody pays to watch me send emails to people.
I would easily pay $10 for that. Not today, but
yeah, we could find some.
That's what the saying always is. There ain't 80 fucking thousand people in Alabama going to watch you take an English test. So get faster. There's a couple things that I think it just exudes who people really are. Again, that's just probably me just being amateur psychologist. It just you see a couple guys, I'm not going to name any names.
No, you don't need to name names.
It doesn't do any good, but obviously I wouldn't, view their stuff on purpose if I thought it was so horrible. But it just, and at certain times in the written word, you can never really tell the seriousness. But it's just interesting at times. Yeah, there's no. Again, I think that exudes the society. I got arrested for this. The law is stupid. It's not, instead of I messed up, I need to reevaluate.
Yeah, you're blaming something else instead of yourself.
Okay.
Take some responsibility. I agree. I totally agree with that. I can't stand when it's if the bet wins, I'm the fucking genius.
I'm a fucking genius.
I'm the fucking guru. I'm the
that's what I always just want to type in, man, you played really well today. Well done. I was impressed with your performance.
Yeah, I mean,
you hit submit. You hit submit correctly. I mean, that's about the extent of it. But
that's awesome.
It's just, I mean, that's sure. There are guys out there that are pretty sharp. Oh yeah. I mean, but are there guys that still win a lot that are dumber than fuck? Yeah. If you win $100 wager on a baseball game, it doesn't. I don't think you're Tony La Russa all of a sudden. But if people had the perceived knowledge or acumen of the things that they interest in, they would be getting paid very well to do it by that organization.
Right.
They're looking for better people every day. Trust me, I see it.
Yeah, no,
hey,
I mean,
you're a 25-year-old athlete. They're already looking for the 22-year-old.
That's why. Worry. Yeah, I mean, and
don't worry, they're looking for them.
That's why you have to be loyal to a degree. I mean, you can't fall in love with these players because
name on the front, not on the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and that, like we talked about before, I guess I've had the fortunate experience of having the two main teams that I root for. One's a founding father, and the other is one of longer standing franchises. So I in Major League Baseball, I just can't perceive. Some of these teams are just that's the go-to thing now. Well, you can go build a stadium. We're gonna move. I guess if I was part of the city council, I'd start grabbing FedEx boxes for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Leave. That's two of the biggest deals as far as I can see with the NFL is the tax exempt law status and the inclusion of taxpayer dollars to these stadiums. That bugs the shit out of me.
No, yeah, we're all paying. Every major city pays for that.
Mm-hmm.
People pay for that.
Well, Atlanta's getting 2 new stadiums now.
God, that stadium's not even that old.
Let's see. Turner Field started getting used right after the Olympics, and I think the Dome was the early 2000s.
God.
But hey, they're going to have a lot of reunions at those stadiums for all the championships they won. No, never mind.
Oh wait, yeah, all those pennants. Pennants.
Atlanta blows.
Yeah. Pennants are fun to celebrate. All right, well let's end this on a little lighter note, because you're always talking about WWE on Twitter, and I had the idea. I see these Sports Illustrated articles sometimes where they'll try and create the perfect quarterback with perfect arm, perfect brain. As a wrestling fan, I want you to design the perfect wrestler, and I'll just name these things that I wrote down on the outline here.
Okay.
Who has, in your mind, the perfect personality for a wrestler, WWE, or like in your lifetime? We could say WWF, obviously, because
the WWE's it's beyond annoyance of still wrestling with an R.
Right.
As far as personality, boy, you'd be hard pressed to just push one. Obviously, you got to have the guys that can handle the mics, which is interesting because Lesnar doesn't ever fucking talk.
Can he talk? I don't even know if he knows more than 10 words.
I guess you guess we need to show people what you can do. Your speaking portions are down. Obviously you got to put the Godfathers that are out there like Flair and Hogan, Rock. That's why Rock and Stone Cold, guys like that, were so. Look at what The Rock's doing now. He's making $25 million to make films that are. God, I can't. Just my loyalty to Miami, but those are fucking terrible movies. I mean, God, nobody's coming out there going, man, that's the greatest fucking movie I ever saw. That movie really made me think. No, I go because he's a fucking enormous, giant, kick-ass human being, and just watch him go kick the fuck out of people, I guess that shows how primitive I am. I'll gladly spend $15 to watch something dumb. So, but we are talking about pro wrestling, so
yeah,
seems like a natural.
Yeah. So if you had to pick out of those guys,
if you're gonna, I would say Flair. Then
okay.
Just, what can I say? 16-time world champ.
Yeah.
Gator skin shoes, Rolex watches.
Yep. All right. What about outfit? Perfect wrestling outfit.
Well, there's not a lot of. I will go with my personal fave is the late Paul Hellwig. I was an Ultimate Warrior fan as a kid for some reason. Okay. I guess psychologists could probably tell me why I like the face. Those guys play a character. So obviously there's some deep rooted issues within me that I made closeted homosexuality. I got called that the other day on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw you mention something about that.
I was just curious to let him explain himself.
No,
despite evidence otherwise, I'm a reasonable human being. It's okay. I was an Ultimate Warrior fan.
Okay.
I don't know if it was. I don't know exactly what it was. I guess it's hard to explain to your 12-year-old self, but I always liked the arm tassels he had. And dude was jacked out of his fucking mind. So obviously we as a nature are attracted to freaks. So that's what I would go with.
Okay. And you mentioned this briefly in personality, but mic skills, perfect mic skills.
As far as a promotional tool?
However you want to define it.
Well, you would probably have to go with. I think that's why Steve Austin was so good. He was just a marginal wrestler for a long time. Go Google some old shit. He has hair and everything. You go, who's this?
Stunning Steve Austin?
He was stunning, all right.
Yeah.
But I think he represented a lot of things in all males for that, the rebellion against authority, whether it was fictitious or not. I think everybody at one point in their life has wanted to tell their father, the teacher, or the law, "Fuck you, man," or flip them off. And that's what he did every week, in a phony show. And I think that appealed to a lot of people.
Yeah, people would love to do that in real life. That's for damn sure.
But at the same time, I just want to make this real clear and on the record. There's no evidence of professional wrestling not being real. I want to put that out there. So, and if anybody has documentation of that, where to get where I'm at.
Yeah, you're not a private account on Twitter. That's for damn sure.
No, sir.
All right, so WWE, WWF, perfect showmanship.
You start running into bias is so bad. Now, there's a lot of guys that can't wrestle. Like the Ultimate Warrior couldn't wrestle. He was just a when you can standing military press another human being, you know, you can make up for your lack of skills. Showmanship. Be more specific.
I guess I can't. I'm just, some of these kind of blend together. So
they're all along separate.
I was just
you could almost answer all these questions with Flair or Hogan because they were both really good wrestlers, but you have to. It's a male soap opera. You have to run your mouth. Flair was never the best bodied guy. He was never the best wrestler. But damn, you know, when the camera went on, he still had his aviators on, you know, and he was wooing, talking about his mile-long limousine that's waiting for him in the parking lot. You know, you have to have a good gimmick and stick with it. You have to have a little flair for the dramatic.
Oh yeah,
you
definitely.
That was the big deal with Hogan.
Yep.
You know, his appeal to the crowd.
Sure.
There was always the contention between, because it was always say your prayers and eat your vitamins, and Walter Warrior always said you can't get those vitamins in a store. There was always a little, which was funny, or maybe perhaps ironic now that
you think about it, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We need to edit that. Never mind.
I'm not editing. I'm not editing anything. Editing.
But you have to. It's a male soap opera in action. So
sure.
I think your ability to sell the event, I guess, if you will.
Okay. All right, 2 more here. Ring technique.
Whew, Jesus. You know what? I'm just going to steal from good old Boomer Sooner Jim Ross. And Jim Ross saw a lot more wrestling, than I could ever watch. But he always said that there was no better wrestler to ever exist than Shawn Michaels, as far as a technical standpoint.
Okay.
So I guess I will defer to his expertise. So.
Okay. And then the last one, and this will be fitting because we're about to end this here. The best finisher. The perfect finisher.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to... Boy, I should have done my homework. Let's see. The Stunner's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, at some point, with some of this, you run into actual, literal, as a kid, if you had a remotely close in age sibling, you've tried to figure 4-leg lock on somebody, or
oh yeah,
we've all ran into
we've all emulated some of these.
We've had our at-home WWF gyms. There's some pretty shitty ones out there. You'd be hard pressed to beat the Stunner just because you just don't survive. The Tombstone was always pretty cool.
That was my favorite. I always loved that one.
I just always enjoyed how there was the allure that you don't survive from that. Let's see. I guess my thought scope is pretty narrow right now. Hogan's sucked. I mean, let's be real honest about it. But although his gimmick was the body slam on the Giant. Yeah. So I'm not gonna knock that. But what was his finish? The fucking atomic leg drop. Come on now.
Yeah, that's not where he got his.
Yeah, it was not where he was just in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I don't even have an answer.
Well, I guess
you probably just have to go with the Stunner, just because it's applicable. Always handy in a tight spot.
All right, yeah.
Well, you got to have a couple cold ones, and you got to have a wingman to toss some cold ones up to you.
Sure.
I guess I always kick it into gear because it always takes me back to you watching all that and just because Ross made wrestling. As far as his dynamics, his passion for it, I can't think of Stone Cold and McMahon, The Rock, those Triple H, those dynamics, without having Jim Ross's voice in your head.
Sure.
What I mean?
And that's why you see his.
That's a huge selling point.
And that's why you see those videos made of him.
Oh, those are fucking hilarious.
Yeah, those are great compilations. If you guys have never seen any of those, where Jim Ross.
YouTube Jim Ross. Insert whatever dynamic phrase.
It's hilarious. Yeah, you have to watch it.
So but it just I think a lot of times broadcasters can only take away from events. But I mean, like I said, this is I guess for poor description. The wrestling is a theatrical performance. And I guess, Ross always sold it so well. So,
yeah.
I guess, you can't, I guess I can picture that in my head. I can hear Ross and Lawler on the TV right now.
Yeah, it's
kind of shitty that he had to fall out with McMahon and all that shit. But, I mean, he's done well for himself, I believe.
Sure. All right, well, I think, let's, do you got any final thoughts before we call this a night?
None that won't get us in trouble with any of the 3-letter governmental situations.
That's a good point. Yeah,
save that for another time.
I mean, I don't know how many people are there's got to be at least a couple federales outside right now. Just because I'm talking to you right now as we speak. So
we'll just put this real simplistic. You done fucked yourself.
Yeah, well, and
I don't mean in a masturbatory way.
Yeah, I'm on some kind of list now. I'm sure if I wasn't before.
Yeah, I hope for your honeymoon you didn't plan on flying out of the country. You'll be detained.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to take a boat on Lake Michigan for that then. So,
Wisconsin Dells, here we come.
Yeah, I hope you like Noah's Ark, John. All right. Well,
I enjoyed you having me on.
I'm glad you could join us, Bulldog. You could catch him at _Bulldog_. It's a pleasure as always. It's nice to get a little bit of a break from talking about gambling 24/7 on these things. So if you were looking forward to some gambling talk, then you're just shit out of luck. You're probably gonna have to wait till next week. So.
Yeah, then you have to wait for the rest of the loser fucks he has on. But
I appreciate you joining us, loser fucks, on the podcast.
Yeah, not that you guys don't listen. But.
No, just support the podcast here. So, well, thanks for joining, Bulldog, and everyone. Once again, thanks for listening. I'll catch you guys next week. Take care. Welcome to where time stands still. No one leaves and no one will. Rule is full, never seems to change. Just labeled mentally deranged. Dream the same thing every night. I see our freedom in my sight. No locked doors, no windows barred, no things to make my brain seem scarred. Sleep, my friend, and you will see the dream is my reality. They keep me locked up in this cage. Can they see it's why my brain says rage? Sanitarium. Leave me be. Sanitarium. Just leave me alone. My fear of what's out there cannot breathe the open air. Whisper things into my brain, assure